welcome to Whoa, it's the Ben's Flights and Flicks live here on Saturday night. God, thank you so much for joining. If you're here, what's up, Ben 2?
Oh, not much, Ben 1. How are you?
I'm great. I'm feeling the energy on this one because first of all, I love the movie I picked. It's one of my favorite. It's probably top 30 all time.
Wow.
And these beers I selected have yet to taste them, but I gotta say, this might be my best selection of beers. Of course, I haven't tried them yet, but just by the names and the themes alone. But hey, we're trying this live for everybody who's everybody who's watching. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, please chime in if you have movies and beers that you think would go that would work with some of our beers and movies. But we'll get the show going. We don't like to waste time here at Set 'em Go Up, do we, Ben?
No, never.
So we're going to start with what movie we selected. This is action comedy for the month of April. We're doing action comedy, and I'm super pumped about action comedy. Obviously, you can tell what movies we picked in the thumbnail. Ben, go.
I picked 2003's The Rundown, starring The Rock, directed by, so that was names, Peter Berg. Peter Berg.
He's the man.
It is a time capsule in what early 2000 actions look like, and I mean that in a very good way. I think it's a very good film. I think it was. I think The Rock. Say what you will about his acting career, he's been insanely successful, despite certain DC film projects. But I think his best work has always been his earlier stuff. I think The Rundown might be the best action film he has starred in and not been an ensemble member in. It's really funny. It's got a great ensemble cast with Rosario Dawson, Christopher Walken, Sean William Scott, who's super funny in the film. And the premise of the film is basically that a mob boss wants to get Sean William Scott's character back in the States from the Amazon. And The Rock goes down to get him. It's a great movie. Check it out. Drink a beer.
The original name of the movie was going to be Hell Dorado, and it didn't play well with audiences, so they changed it to The Rundown. Because you remember, there's that sign where they pass where they're in Hell Dorado.
Yeah, I know. I had to read it a couple times. I was like, "What does that say?"
I think they made the right choice. Hell Dorado doesn't say anything about your movie, really.
No, then you get sued by Disney. You don't need that.
I agree with you because this was supposed to be the passing of the torch movie. You remember that scene? I'll let you talk about it because it's your movie. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the cameo. There's cameo. It's a great cameo. Right at the beginning, The Rock is supposed to go into this nightclub to get the championship ring off an NFL player that owes his boss $50,000. He's supposed to take the ring as collateral. And on the way in, coming out, he passes Arnold Schwarzenegger tells him to have a good time in there. And it felt like very much a passing of the torch. Like, I had my fun with these crazy fight scenes you're about to go into. It's a great moment. And it felt like that. It felt like that was the beginning of what was going to be a great action career for The Rock. And it kind of was, I guess. I just think I think it's one of the better films he's made as an action star, though. That's for sure.
It still might be my favorite because he just is. His arc as Beck has such. I mean, I'll let you talk about character stuff, but I love that he has this arc where he's against using certain something, and then by the end he does. And that's the old like 80s action model where like a guy who's a super badass but is trying not to be, and then he's pushed to the limits and does it. But let's play that clip from the beginning, which just shows The Rock and just all his, and this is when he wasn't quite as large as he is now, but he was still pretty intimidating as a younger guy.
You got two choices. Option A, you give me the ring. Option B, I make you give me the ring.
I'll take B.
Wrong choice.
Dude, when he picks up that DJ's turntable and throws it like a frisbee, that is so classic action, like big tough guy. I love it.
Yeah, it's really great.
Okay. So the movie I picked was 48 Hours, and I do believe this 1982 comedy action, if you haven't seen it, it wasn't the first of its kind, but it set the standard for casting the funniest guy in the business to star opposite the most serious guy in the business, which was pretty much what Nick Nolte was at that time. The result is hilarious. It's brutal. It's got magic. The script is so gnarly. It would give a heart attack to the youth of today. Some of the sensibilities of the 80s, as you call it. But I think it's the perfect action comedy because it's not over the top action. It's very street level. It's very car chases with a bus. But Walter Hill, the director, he's very fluid at like street level action where he knows right where to place the camera for action scenes to make them feel grounded. And the ending is just more of like a film noir kind of ending, which, we'll get into it as we move. But and I'll talk about the story when we get to that. I'll let Ben go first with his as we start, sampling our beers. But Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte. I mean, my God, I referenced the funniest guy in the business at the time, definitely Eddie Murphy. And from Saturday Night Live fame, everybody knew he was going to be a huge star, and he steals this movie. Though Nick Nolte is great as well in his role. He's very stoic. He's very racist. But as the movie goes, they both change, and here's the thing. I hate the sequel to this movie because they retract all of this growth from this first movie. And so I don't even count the second movie as existing. I think the first movie is a perfect time capsule of 1982 action comedy. And I can't wait to talk about it. So let's get in, as we're talking about these, let's get into a story. So Ben, I know you gave a brief synopsis, but it was very brief. So
yeah,
so bring up your story and your beer.
The film follows The Rock, who plays this character named Beck. And Beck is indebted to a mafioso, and all he wants to do is pay off his debt so he can finally open a restaurant and be a legit restaurateur like he's always wanted. So he's kind of like Rocky in a sense. In the meantime, he's just like breaking hands and stuff, trying to get money for this guy. And the film starts with this great fight scene at that nightclub against these football players. It really sets the tone really early for the film. It's a good fight scene, but far from the best in the film. They just get better from there.
Yeah.
So anyways, this mafioso needs him to go down to the Amazon to get his son, who has left some trouble behind in Chicago. He needs to come pay for, apparently. So The Rock goes down there to find Sean William Scott, Travis, who's down there searching for an artifact, El Gato. It's like a silver gold cat statue thing that these villagers
pretty
want.
cheesy.
Yeah,
artifact.
I mean, it is, but it's it's the least cheesiest thing of the film. Who could tell that coming?
That might be true. Yeah,
dude, seeing that trailer, I mean, like, if you saw that trailer, you'd be like, this will be a good film. But it's an excellent film. It's an excellent film. It's like a near perfect action comedy.
Agreed.
While down there, there's the villagers are essentially enslaved to dig for gold, and Christopher Walken runs that setup, and he is a great villain.
Dude, steals the movie.
So funny. So funny. There's a scene I love where they're looking for The Rock and Sean William Scott, and to inspire his men, Christopher Walken wants to liken the experience to him being a child, putting his tooth under the pillow, and someone stealing the tooth fairy. But then his guy has to translate all that to Spanish. And then halfway through, he's like, do they understand the concept? So then they have to explain the concept.
Do you understand the concept?
It was so funny. So
I feel like a little boy who just lost his first tooth. sorry.
So there's a lot of really great funny moments like that in there. But one of my favorite gags in the story was Rosario Dawson, Sean William Scott, and The Rock had just escaped. They're on their way. They got the golden cat, and but they're still all three like playing each other to get what they want out of the situation.
Yeah.
So they stop to camp for the night, and she gives them some fruit that they found, because they need something to eat. And it turns out it's a really big hallucinogenic. And The Rock and William Scott start tripping balls before they pass out, and she escapes with El Gato. So I thought that was a pretty funky piece of fruit. So I thought I'd get something in that vein. I got
Nice.
Watermelon Heat Wave by Blake's Hard Cider Company. Nobody ever told me I couldn't do a cider on the show.
No, of course not.
And I wanted to try this because it's watermelon and chili, and I love watermelon and chili.
Yeah.
That's my favorite hallucinogenic fruit. If I can
Give it
help
a shot.
It's not
Is
bad.
Is it everything it says it is?
No, unfortunately, it's not. We're live, so I'm gonna be honest, people. I can't lie to you. No, it could be a little more watermelony.
It's a cider.
It's not hot enough. I've had a habanero cider before that's got the real good kick to it, man. I'll have to see if I can find that for an episode starring habaneros or something. But
well, the scene he's talking about, that's the aftermath of the hallucinogenic is
what? Monkey. Monkey. Monkey, bro. Still listening. Yeah, monkey. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I love the playful nature of this movie, man. It just, like you said.
Do you have the rest?
No, I have to do them in little small clips. I do have the trailer, so I'll bring the trailer up.
Well, we'll be talking about the monkey more later.
Okay. So the beer on it, what's the alcohol on that one?
Well, I'll say this again, doesn't taste super like watermelon, but now that I've drank the whole thing, there's a good heat there.
Okay.
So
it creeps in.
Yeah, I would recommend this. I would definitely recommend this one. What were you asking me?
The alcohol content. Yeah.
The alcohol content, 6.5.
Okay, and it's up there.
And it's a cider, so it's gluten-free. Oh, look, it's got a heat level medium. Yeah, that sounds fair. All right. You won me over, Watermelon Heat Wave.
That's a good choice, though, just from the movie alone. And there's so many pit stains in this movie. Everyone's sweating bullets,
Oh, yeah, they are.
So I for my story of 48 hours, the basic story of this movie is a cat and mouse game. It's what am I trying to say? It's cat and mouse game. We're live, guys. Jack Cates is a cop, and Reggie Hammond is played by Eddie Murphy. He's the criminal that's just about to get out of jail. I'm hearing an echo. Are you hearing that?
No, but it's probably me, man.
We didn't really
get. I don't know what's wrong with my headphones. I can't get anything come through my headphones right now.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
On my speaker.
So let's see. So basically, Reggie Hammond's buddy his old gang buddy broke out of prison and is now after his money. And Nick Nolte as Cates, the cop, he needs to get Reggie Hammond out of prison for 48 hours to help him track down Gans. And Gans is a villain that is straight out of not normally an action comedy. He's a very sadistic, like rapist, murderer. He's an awful person. And I love this movie for taking itself so seriously, whereas the only thing that's funny is Eddie Murphy. It's almost like a really hard-edged action movie where Eddie Murphy is just in it. And that's what makes it funny. There's no funny scenarios. It's just everything Eddie Murphy says and how he reacts to situations, because it's a very serious, hardcore, violent, scary villain. But that's the basic story of it. So what I did for story, I love the brewery. I'm glad. I think this is the first time that I get to put it on there. It's called Catch Me If You Can. Makes sense. And what Catch Me If You Can is, it's a graham cracker molasses bourbon barrel aged imperial stout. And those are not my jam, but the name alone sold me. It's 10.3%, so it's up there. So we're gonna give Catch Me If You Can a try. It's a cat and mouse game movie. I thought the name was just perfect. It's like, what else would you want to get? You're not gonna get one that says a cop and a criminal try to track down a killer.
Yeah, but they only stopped making that beer like last year.
This one?
No, that one you just said about a cop and a goat.
Okay, I gotta say, it's kind of amazing. Imperial stouts are not my jam typically. There's not a lot of coffee flavor in this. I taste a lot of molasses. I'm not there at the graham cracker yet, but the aftertaste has almost almost like a, not in a bad way, but like a burned graham cracker. if that makes sense. I think that has to do with the coffee. That's pretty good. That's pretty
nice.
good. That's one of the better Imperial. That's why it was $20 for a can. But
You said it's 10.5%.
10.3. Yeah.
Oh man, you
So,
drink
but
that
it's
too
up-
fast, you're gonna be having a hangover for 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. A 48-hour long hangover.
There we go.
But
You're gonna
you know,
look like that. You're gonna look like Nick Nolte that time he got arrested.
oh God. Yeah, he didn't look great in that. But you know, here's a good this is a funny thing. It's like, again, this is a quick scene from 48 Hours where the scene that just played out was serious, but Eddie Murphy just comes in and does his thing.
Well, look, Hoss, you start running a respectable business, and I won't have to come in here and hassle you every night. You know what I mean?
Like, he was just so goddamn natural and just funny. Like, the fact that he could be the comic relief in this movie, and it's what made it an action comedy, where the script is just an action movie. You know, it's just a crime caper. But when you insert Eddie Murphy into it, the whole dynamic changes. So he's a genius, and I love this. The story of this movie is basic, but it's one of those. It's a buddy cop movie, but it's not, because one's a criminal and one's a cop, and I love that dynamic. Yours is kind of the same way. I mean, not really. I mean, Beck's not a cop.
They're
Yeah.
two guys that hate each other who
Yeah.
have to work together to get what they want.
Yeah, and you see, that's the pattern of the action comedy. I'd be like, Ben, we picked a similar thing where the arc of the story is how they get along. It's like, well, that's usually an action comedy with two leads, you know. So
yeah.
But that's it for me. I like this. The brewery, Catch Me If You Can, graham cracker, imperial stout with molasses. I gotta say, that's pretty goddamn good.
Nice.
So we're gonna move on to character. What do you got for us, Ben?
So the beer I picked is inspired by The Rock's character Beck. He wants to get out of crime and, you know, doing beating people up for the mafia to open a restaurant. But when he's introduced, I really like this about the film. So he scopes out all these football players in the club that he knows if it doesn't go the way he wants, he's gonna have to beat the shit out of. And it really quickly gives their stats, which I thought was funny. And then it cuts to him and gives his stats.
I love that too. It's like a sporting event. Yeah.
And I think instead of like the position of like linebacker or quarterback or anything like that, I think it said recovery expert. That's this whole thing, is to get money and like in people and bring them to someone else, right? So I found a beer. This beer is definitely inspired by a different film, but another great film called Repo Man, because that's essentially what The Rock is in this film. He's Repo Man. This one's obviously inspired by the 80s film with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Emilio Estevez.
It is a rye stout. I've never had a rye stout before, but I'm down for it. Let's give it a shot. It's a stout. There might be rye in there. I can't tell.
Is it what's the brewery?
Oh, this is I think it's Revolution Brewing out of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Smooth drinking, rye and roast. That's exactly what it is. I don't see the alcohol content on it. You know, it's so funny to me they hide those as much as they do.
Yeah, well, they put it on there like the old cigarette packs that would say like, "This is really bad for your lungs." It was like microscopic text.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But it's good though. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm not a huge stout guy.
Same,
you know, but if if the beer's name will be punny with my movie, I'll get it. And this is a fine stout. I recommend it if you are into fine stouts.
Good. And there are people who love the stout.
Stout shout.
So I guess I keep drinking mine, and I normally don't do that with a stout. It really is good. You know, it's good.
I finished mine because I have a problem.
We're here to contrast and compare beers, guys. If I didn't like it, I'd say it, but it's fucking good. So do you want to let's see, do you want to move on to my character, or are you still going?
No, I'm done. But let's move on to your character.
Okay. So mine, obviously, I'm picking the two as a pair. And this is the most interesting drink that I've gotten so far. I mean, I haven't tasted it yet, but just the idea is kind of bonkers. It's got a really wild can. And this is no, sorry, 450 North Thunder versus Trickster. And if you can see on there, there's a Loki and a Thor. Very small, but Thunder and a Trickster, and it's a double passion fruit mango tangerine vanilla cream sour. And back in the day, I used to love sours. I don't buy them that much anymore. And the reason that I picked it is because Thor and the Trickster just made perfect sense. Were Jack Gates and Reggie Hammond. Reggie Hammond is a complete trickster. He's a con man. And Gates is very stoic, which is what Thor was, at least in the first two Thor movies. Then he became the trickster. But, so that spoke to me right away. And I was like, if I'm going to do a character with two people, because I love Reggie Hammond in this movie, but it's really Jack Cates who goes through the biggest transition, because he's kind of an asshole to his girlfriend. He's kind of an asshole to everybody. You almost like don't really root for him for the first 45 minutes of the movie. He says awful things to Reggie Hammond, Eddie Murphy's character. He uses racist terms towards him. But then as they become friends, he says this great line where he says, this and this, which I'm not going to repeat. He goes, I didn't mean those things. He's like, I was doing my job trying to keep you down, and I was like, okay. Doesn't really excuse it, but it was his way of apologizing, and that's one little small step for his growth in the story. And as they become friends, which is basically what Thor and Loki do to an extent, I'm guessing, in the comics, but in the movies, definitely. They work all this shit out after like 8 years of movies. That's one of the things I love so much about 48 Hours is how these two people could not be more different, but they figure out a way, common interests, common goals will bring people together when they need to. But the fact that they become friends at the end of it, where they trust each other enough, where Reggie's going to give Jack the money, his money, and keep it for him until he gets out of prison. A lot of trust there, And it's also, without mentioning, this doesn't have a lot to do with the story, because in the 80s this wasn't really as important, but it is a black man and a white man, but that never really, aside from, like I said, some of the sensibilities of how they talk to each other, hillbilly, blah blah blah, then some other bad stuff. It doesn't play a factor into the movie, but it is there. So without further ado, I keep talking. I want to try this. So this is the biggest mouthful so far. It's a double passion fruit, mango, tangerine, vanilla cream sour.
It looks like juice.
I swear to God, Ben, every one of those flavors in there is there. And it's sour. It's sour when the roof of your mouth salivates, Dude, that's legit. And this one's only 5%, so I feel fine drinking more of it. That's phenomenal. It's a really thick sour. It's hard to see it, but a lot of sours are not this thick. It does, like you said, it looks more like what's that mango nectar drink in the can? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like that. It has probably more mango than vanilla. I'd say it's mango tangerine really stands out.
That might be the healthiest beer you've ever had, man. That's like a breakfast beer right there.
I know. I need to put this in a Brass Monkey. That'd be perfect.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, dude, this thing's amazing. It delivers on pretty much everything it is supposed to be. And it's not very strong, so I'm going to finish it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So far, so good for me, Ben. 2 for 2.
Very nice.
Well, let's move on to filmmaker. This is always the tough one to pick a beer.
This one was very hard. So Peter Berg has a very prolific career. He is an actor, a producer, a writer, director. He's credited for, I don't know, over 100 things easy.
He's an amazing director. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure quite how to approach this. So I decided to focus on his directing career when I was like, I'm going to select a beer. Okay. So just a few highlights. He's done like 3 movies with Mark Wahlberg.
Two of them came out in the same year.
What's that?
2 of them came out in the same year.
Yeah, that's true. Deepwater Horizon was one of them. That was one of the bigger ones. Did some episodes of Chicago Hope, The Leftovers, Lone Survivor, the movie Battleship, Friday Night Lights. He did that film, which I know people love.
It's great.
Bangkok. People feel certain ways about that. Very Bad Things. That's a great movie.
Love that movie.
But out of all the things I've seen him direct, and look at his entire filmography, I think I'll never think of, like, when I first think Peter Berg, I'll always think of The Rundown first.
Okay.
Because which made me want to pick Juicy Monkey, because I'll never forget that monkey's juices shooting all over the rock. Do you have more of that clip, Ben?
No, I do not. I'm
so,
sorry.
So the monkey that in the clip Ben showed earlier, if you want to show that a little bit of it again.
Yeah, sure.
What? Monkey.
So that's Eddie, who is foreshadowed like in the previous scene, not very much longer before that. And actually, no, that's the second time we see the monkeys. The first time we see the monkeys is when
they're upside down.
Upside down, they were trapped.
Yeah.
And basically, Eddie is a horny monkey, and he humps the rock a little bit before they finally get down. And
humps his face, right?
No, not his face. It's still, I think, a PG-13 movie. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it was just gross enough, but really funny. So it made me think the Juicy Monkey Hazy Imperial IPA was the way to go.
Let's give it a whirl.
All right, Ben, you're the winner now with APV, but or ABV, whatever it's called. But this is a 9.5%.
What is? 9. Okay,
9.5. So this isn't like straight up juice like your last one, but this is like got a juicy flavor to it, like kind of citrusy. Let's say orange with maybe a little mango in it or something.
Sounds similar to mine, sort of.
Yeah, it's smooth, thin. It's very thin. It's not a thick kind of thing, but I like it. It's really good. It's exactly what it tastes like on the can. Monkey juices, delicious.
The monkey jizz.
It's good.
Good. You know what? We both have our mango or our fruity ones. So cheers.
Yeah.
Let's polish these.
Well, I did.
You know what? Let's fill them back up and knock them down. Since yours is 9%. Since yours is 9%, mine is 5.
We go through a lot of stunt cans on the show, folks.
Oh, I know. Look at. I love Victory.
Oh yeah, they make great stuff.
They do, yeah, man. The White Rascal.
Yeah, they make a few monkey beers that are tasty.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Here's to the first live Flights and Flicks.
Monkeys.
And monkeys. Yeah, definitely monkeys. Okay. So for you know what you have to me, Peter Berg. I'll throw in my 2 cents right now. I love Peter Berg, and the first thing that I used to always remember him for was Shocker. If you ever seen Shocker,
yeah,
horror movie from 1988, I think.
Yeah, with the guy on the electric chair, right?
Yeah. And he was like the protagonist in Shocker. And he was a better actor than like that movie deserved. I remember when his girlfriend is murdered and his reaction was really good. But I've always really liked his filmography. It's so different. There's so much variety of different genres. Very Bad Things was so disturbing and wonderful. I loved it. Very Bad Things is basically like what The Hangover would have really ended up like, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love him as a filmmaker. And it was Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day that he did in one fucking year, and they were both based on true stories, and they were both excellent films by their own right. So, and I like Lone Survivor a lot too, even though I know that story is complete bullshit compared to what the real story was, because all the SEALs were like, yeah, this didn't go down this way. But you know, it's a movie. It's a fucking movie, you know.
Mhm.
You got to make it entertaining. So for me, my filmmaker, it's the one and only Walter Hill. And the beer that I picked, and this is my second, Ben, Paperback Brewery, and it's a beer called Heartless Bastards. And the reason why is because Walter Hill is largely regarded as being a huge asshole on sets during pre-production, the writing stage, later on trashing projects that he was either unwilling to have to stay involved with or just left the project. Dude was still part of a lot of good shit, especially in the 80s. But this is the first time I think I've got a beer for a filmmaker where I just wanted to base it on his reputation, that he's a huge asshole.
Mhm.
But he's done so many amazing things. I mean, I'm going to pull up his IMDb. So, yeah, dude, this motherfucker, obviously we know he was involved in all 4 Aliens. One of the smartest things he did was he did speak out saying, Alien 4 is going to ruin this franchise. But it was already ruined by 3, so it didn't really matter. But
I think that's a discussion for another episode, Ben.
Yeah.
Because how can you say Resurrections ruined that franchise when Alien versus Predator hadn't even come out yet?
Well, no. I'm just saying he said that.
No, I know. I'm just joking, man.
Yeah. But
have a drink, relax.
Walter Hill loves James Horner. James Horner had 2 speeds, if you remember. He had the orchestral sort of James Cameron stuff that was really bombastic and loud, and then he had 3 speeds, because then he had the flute era where you have your Titanic and stuff. But when he did Walter Hill movies, it almost sounded like the same thing, and he used a lot of that traditional Jamaican bowl drum, and ding ding, it was kind of like a coca drum.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie and a movie called Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi, basically the exact same soundtrack, and it just works because it makes these movies unique. The score of it, it really does. And Walter Hill picks the perfect people to do those aspects of his film. So I do think he's brilliant, and he's been involved in some of my favorite shit that's ever come out. Like I said, specifically in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But he just apparently he's an asshole. So I'm gonna drink, if I can find it here, Heartless Bastard. And this, Ben, I didn't even say what it was. My bad. It's a West Coast IPA, 7.2% alcohol. So see how West Coast IPA, it's gonna be like every other week West Coast IPA, probably. Oh, it's actually a little bit milder. It's less bitter.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good. I could see getting in some trouble with that one because it's very easy to drink, but it's still 7.2. I like that. I like that.
And what? And you chose this because of the name, right?
Yeah.
You said he's an asshole.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. I was worried you picked it because it tastes like asshole. I'm really glad that's not the case.
No. It tastes good. It's just called Heartless. Well, I love it. I love Paperback. They have some funny shit. It says every bastard has his day. Heartless Bastards IPA. Boom. That's catchy right there. That's catchy right there. Yeah. So that's my filmmaker. So we have Peter Berg, Walter Hill, 2 really good directors. I mean, they beat last month's, which was the people that did Leprechaun and Rodhead Rex. So at least we got 2 really good filmmakers making their films, so definitely. I do think The Rundown's one of my favorite Peter Berg movies by far.
Yeah, by far.
Okay, so we'll move on to our final category, and then we'll shoot the shit about our films in general, but take it away, Ben, with theme.
So for theme, this wasn't too hard of a choice for me. This is one of my favorites. I'm glad I got to go to it. But I chose a little something because
I love it.
This great ensemble cast. Everybody wants something, and they're trying to figure out how they can use other people to get what they want. And until the end, when Rosario Dawson and The Rock and Sean William Scott kind of form a tentative like partnership, I guess is a good term. They team
Yeah,
up
pretty much,
basically
yeah.
to do the right thing, and they all end up getting what they want in the end, and it works out great. Something I thought was really funny, and like going at the theme, like I'm trying to get a little something, something, so The Rock keeps running into people in the Amazon. We keep seeing people rather in the film who have made deals with Sean William Scott about a percentage of the money from the treasure they're going to get, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps changing every time we go through it. So when Sean William Scott's making a deal with Rosario Dawson early in the film, she says she wants 50-50 and agrees to it. When we meet Christopher Walken, he says he has a deal with him 60-40. Okay. And then and then when the Rock finally catches up with Sean William Scott and his back's against the wall and he wants to make a deal with him, Sean William Scott offers him 80-20. And then when The Rock says no, he goes 70-30. So then you realize the whole time you think Rosario Dawson has the worst deal, and you realize he's been lying to all these people, giving himself a larger percentage. So she ends up having the best deal.
Yeah.
And then when they run back around to her again, it becomes a 90-10. So I just thought that was funny. Like there's always just somebody's trying to like play somebody else in the film. Rosario Dawson's actually playing Sean William Scott. The Rock is the one who gets played the most until he finally just fucking puts his foot down with everything. So this is a great beer. I've had this a bunch. It's by Lagunitas Brewing. Yeah, it's a smooth and silky wheat IPA, 7.5%.
I love little something something. Love it.
Yeah, crisp and smooth. Just a little bit.
I've been drinking that
since.
since
I'm not.
I can
Not the biggest IPA guy, but I love a little something something.
Nice, good one, Ben.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
See, it's funny because I almost picked a beer that I've had before.
Yeah,
but then I saw Heartless Bastard because honestly, for Walter Hill, I was gonna get Stone Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah,
and it almost would have been better, but I'm like, I've had Stone so many times, and then this just popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, okay, let's do that. Because I don't love Arrogant Bastard, but the name was perfect. But
yeah, well, I'm glad you found something else.
I love that Rosario Dawson's like, I'll send you your cut. And it's like, do you even know their last names? Like, how are you going to find them to give them their cut? Do you think she ever sent them a cut? Really?
It was 2003. They exchanged Yahoo email addresses off screen. Yeah. They'll hit each other up on AOL, Instant Messenger, So yeah, I'm not worried about
social media yet. Yeah.
And then
I do like
on the MySpace pages.
That final scene, aside from the action just being really exciting and fun when The Rock, because the thing I was talking about earlier is The Rock's arc, Beck's arc, is that he was scared to use guns because bad things happen. I mean, it's very simplistic, but
yeah,
when he does use a gun, you're like, wow. And they really emphasize how good he is with guns,
I think Beck's arc is like and like I think a few of the characters having very similar arcs in the film.
Yeah.
Where like simplistically, at some one point Sean William Scott says like it's about more than money. And it's like there's all these characters in film who aren't living the lives they want to live, and they think money is going to solve that. But then they're given this opportunity to save this village, and it's really just like saving these people, making moral choices that make them the people they actually want to be. And then, yes, there's money later on.
Well, you know what it is? Him and Sean William Scott's character and Beck, they're under the same rock, and they don't even realize it. They both want to get away from his dad. They both want to move on from his dad. Like Beck wants to be a cook. And they don't realize that for so much of the movie because The Rock has to work for his dad where he's already set on getting away from his dad. And Rosario Dawson's character, I'm sorry, I can't remember some of the characters' names, but she's trying to get out from underneath the Christopher Walken character and free the people. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of that lore and stuff doesn't make sense because it's not explored, but it doesn't need to be for this movie. It's a quick in and out action comedy. It doesn't need to. If you get into the politics and like how everything kind of happened the way it did, they give you enough.
Dude, on this viewing, I really realized how just little about like the actual just the context behind Sean William Scott knowing where this treasure is buried. Like he barely mentions translating stuff on screen. Like at no point it just like almost like it just magically happens in a sense. But it's fine because the movie works in so many ways. You know what I mean? So it's
Well,
you know
why it really works, Ben.
Well, we live in a post cocaine bear world now. You know what I mean?
I think that works. Yeah,
it's true. I meant it then, and I mean it now. That movie happened, and now we live in a time after it.
But to finish off that final scene, which I think is just epic, even though I've never really liked that Scottish guy. Like that guy's kind of annoying. The pilot.
Yeah, he's weird. I don't understand how
he's just a really weird actor. I don't know how he gets parts because he never. I don't know. It's just kind of strange. But anyway, he's like reading from the Bible or something while like Beck is just murdering people, and it's so great. And then I mean, everyone does, like I said, it's very simplistic, but Sean William Scott's character, he overcomes things and he realizes it's not all about him, and he comes back and he helps Beck. And then even Rosario Dawson, she ends up with the Gato, spoilers, but she apparently is going to email them some money. But I don't think she ever does. But and do you think since this is the last category for you movie, do you think they were setting it up for a sequel the way that because it didn't make a lot of money. It got really popular, but it didn't make a lot of money.
Ben, it's I told you I had a really busy week, so I just got to watch the movie again today. I just got my beer again today, and I did not get a chance to look that up.
Sorry.
But no, it's okay. But I've been curious about that because it feels like it. The way
they talk, like they're gonna team up or something.
Yeah, it feels like how would it work? One searches for treasure, the other wants to open a restaurant, but it feels like they're going to be a reluctant duo.
It feels like they're gonna go search for other treasure because that's what Sean William Scott does, So
well, yeah, but the Rock wants to open a restaurant, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I feel like they would have somehow made here we go. The rundown 2, Jonah Hill wanted opposite Johnson for
no thanks.
Long gestating sequel. Yeah, so I guess
Ben Jonah Hill
and this probably
Jonah Hill in a sequel. Now. You know what I think of that?
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
No thanks. I like Jonah Hill, but not for the rundown. Like the thing about Sean William Scott is he's a naturally hilarious, but he's also built. He's built.
Underrated, man. He's such an underrated comedy actor.
He is. I've always loved him, and he's a big guy too. He's muscular and stuff too.
Dude, he's great in the Goon films. If you've ever seen those,
I've seen the first Goon. I love the first Goon. Yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet though.
I think the first one's the best one, but the second's really good, especially because Liev Schreiber is in it, and they just like.
Well, he's in the first one too.
The hockey fight at the end of the film.
Headcase, have you seen Goon 2?
I'm losing my head.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. But yeah, I love Sean William Scott. I think he's very underrated. He's still working today, but he could have been a bigger star. But I love him in Role Models, man. Holy shit. I love that movie so much.
Yeah. Another kind of underrated film, in my opinion.
So we can move on to my fourth and final theme beer. This one is not super exciting. We've had week 1, the very first episode, Ben, we had this beer. I had this beer and I said, how do you say this name? I think it's Socialite, but it's not Socialite because there's no L. It's Sociiete. And we tried to pronounce this in our first episode of this show.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it. But who cares? The beer for the theme of 48 Hours is just the two of us. And I think that's a perfect name for a beer. And it's called a collaborative IPA, which means it's like a mixture of a couple different types of IPA. Mm-hmm. And it's very strong. It's 7.8%. Not very strong, but strong-ish. And I just love the name because that's again everything I've been talking about this movie, about two people coming together from opposite sides of everything, coming together for a common goal. And when you watch 48 Hours, all the old gang members of Reggie Hammond, they turn on him, so he's on his own. Jack Gates, his lieutenant, turns on him. He says, hand in your badge. They always do that. Give me your badge and your gun. It's always a thing. So it literally is the final act of this movie, which I said is very film noirish, and it ends in very small scale instead of like a crazy action stunt where someone drops a log on someone's head or whatever. It's just a very like it's an alleyway shootout, but it's just those two. And the decision that Jack Cates has to make is Reggie Hammond, he doesn't have a gun, so he gets held up by Gans, who's insane. And I wish I could play these clips right now, but we'll see. But it's such a baller move, dude. Cates just goes because he goes, oh, don't shoot, and Cates just like goes boosh. He just like pulls his arm up and shoots and gets him right in the chest. And Reggie Hammond goes, man, what'd you do? What are you doing? Like, you could have hit me or whatever. And then then Gans gets up and he's like, you can't shoot me, I'll kill you. And then Cates just unloads on him. It's such an old school 80s, like just unload your entire clip on somebody. I think in real life, you would have to file a report as to why you unloaded the entire clip. But I guess your answer would just be like, they didn't fall until the end.
I think that depends on what state you're in, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm going to drink Just the Two of Us, which is a collaborative IPA. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's you ever had Goose Island IPA?
Yeah.
It tastes like that. It's not piney. It's not bitter. It's kind of got a sweet, like a honeyish. I don't know. It's okay. It's probably the weakest. It's the weakest of the four for sure.
Okay.
But Just the Two of Us makes perfect sense. It's a movie about two people killing other people to do the justice of the world. So what I'll do real quick, Ben, I'm going to bring up the rundown trailer, the original trailer from, if you remember that trailer. I was in the military when this movie came out. I don't know. You might have been in high school or something, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Yeah. I'm an old folk. Old fogey. Okay, so
it's still a 20-year-old movie, man. I don't know if I'm that much.
Yeah,
younger.
no, dude, I forgot. It came out in October of 2003. Yeah.
2003, yeah.
So I have to stop this every so often, but
One job, I wipe your slate clean, you walk out of this house.
this was definitely the first movie where The Rock was taken seriously, though, wouldn't you say? Because he'd done like the Scorpion King and maybe one other thing. He hadn't done Walking Tall yet. He did that after this.
I don't have his filmography in front of me, but yeah, like some of his early stuff wasn't that great. But like, I mean,
well, then he got in like the Tooth Fairy and all that bullshit.
Yeah, but he was trying interesting things, and he
was.
So there's this, and like, I think a few years later, Southland Tales came out, which I like that film. I understand why people don't like that film.
That's the director of Donnie Darko, right?
Yeah.
I never saw
Southland Tales. Ever see The Rock in another movie like that at all. It's not an action film, but and then he did Doom, I think, was in 2005. He was willing to play a villain.
I did see that with Carl Urban.
Yeah, and that's not a great movie either.
It's kind of dumb fun,
Yeah, but he was like willing to like just build his filmography and try things. And I think now, to be honest, like Black Adam is a great example of like how he's been so concerned to become the brand he is that like he probably could be doing way more interesting films.
Yeah,
he
got in his own way.
That's how it seems to me. But whatever, man. It seems like he has the career he wants. I think he could be a pretty decent actor, so I would love to see him do more things like The Rundown.
Oh, dude, have you seen the show Ballers?
Rampage and San Andreas or whatever.
Have you seen the show Ballers?
No, I'm not. But dude, I know Peter Berg did some episodes.
He's fucking awesome in Ballers, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Like, that's the best shit he's ever done.
I'll have to check out Ballers then.
There's no question that he is a good actor when you watch Ballers. You're like, he can act if he wants to. And he's so good as like a retired football player who is now like an agent, and he's addicted to painkillers. Like he has a really fleshed out character, and he owns it. He's so good in Ballers. It's got 3 seasons. Watch it if you have a chance. I think it's all free on streaming, but
I will, huh?
He's really, really good in that movie. I was surprised on how much he was good in that movie. But all right, well, let's get him here.
It's a free man.
How much?
250 large.
No problem.
He's come to the other side of the world.
Is that duct tape?
I love that they're playing "Don't Take Your Guns to Town" from Johnny Cash when that scene happens.
yeah.
Like, I almost think that's in The Rock's contract. He's like, you got to play a Johnny Cash song when I'm on screen.
To finish one last job.
I'm looking for a man. His name's Travis Walker. Brown hair.
You know what's funny about this trailer, Ben? And I'm stopping it so much because I can't get the copyright thing, but this still has a narrator. I thought we were done with that by 2003. There's still a guy going, Quentin Beck is a lone gunman, and he's got to travel to the Amazon.
You know, that's funny you bring that up, because watching this film, I feel like it is one of the last of these kinds of films. Like,
It might have been.
there were, you know, in the 80s and parts of the 90s, there were a ton of like Amazonian adventure films going for treasure. You know, like there are parts of this that harken back to like Indiana Jones. Like, there's a great moment in the big battle at the end where The Rock is fighting 3 different guys with whips, and it's a really great fight scene.
Oh, I love that scene. Those
It's
whip
so good,
guys.
dude. The
But
wire.
I was
really
referring
good.
to the voiceover guy of the trailer.
No, but what I'm getting at.
Oh, I'm
is
sorry.
that
I'm sorry.
It's
I didn't
it's
give you enough credit,
probably-
man. I didn't give you enough credit. My bad.
it's
my bad.
probably one of the last films to have a narrator in the trailer. Just like it was one of, like, I can't think of a lot of like the new Jumanji movies came out in like the early 2020s or something, right? But there are not a ton of good, like they're not a lot of action Amazonian like treasure hunting kind of films that have come out between like The Rundown and the fucking boat one The Rock did a couple years ago.
Oh, the fucking the Disney ride.
Yeah.
Jungle
I
Cruise.
understand
Jungle
what I-
Cruise. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the you know, it's a very specific kind of action film, and it was you know, it was like peak Amazonian adventure. And it's just like I said, I think that's partly why the trailer's that way. It was like it's kind of like a dying thing, and they really just kind of nailed it.
Hey Ben,
Mhm.
because we're live and we did this every show up until this point. Pee break. All right. Well, you know what, Ben? Doing a show like this live, I realized a couple of things. We can't stop the show if one of us has to go to the bathroom after all these wonderful brewskis. So
I assume
I'm
you were
gonna
wearing
make
diapers like me.
I'm going to make a specific video for pee break when we need to go. So anyway.
Face like a weasel.
Do I know you?
I'm taking you home, Travis.
What's in Los Angeles?
Your father.
So angry.
Shut up.
See, I love how Tom William Scott can he's got the physicality to kind of hang with The Rock where he's not a complete bitch.
Yeah.
But he also has that humor when he knows he's overpowered to kind of sound like he's getting defeated. I love that guy. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And here comes our boy, the scene stealer.
Oh yeah.
If only it were that simple. Apparently, he stumbled onto a trinket of some value in my jungle. Yep.
I want it back.
There's your whips.
Yeah, this is just a sampler of the fight at the end of the film.
Oh, dude, look at that scene where he throws the table.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
Wow.
Great
dude,
shot.
those whips will just cut you in half, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is just a sampler. Then he grabs both. That's a little, suspension of disbelief, but I love that scene where he grabs the whips from the two guys. Yeah. They should just had laser beams on these things.
Whatever my father's paying you, I will double it.
No.
I'll quadruple it.
No.
I'll double it and quadruple it.
Hell no.
I hope you enjoy the fall.
Now what fall?
I laughed really hard during this part because they basically fall down an entire mountain.
Well, and they break every bone in their body 10 times.
Yeah, it's almost cartoonish, but how long they're
is.
falling, but it's really good.
It's not almost cartoonish. It's completely, literally every single bone from the fingertips to the skull to the back are broken. But I love it. That's how this movie sets its rules, and it doesn't deviate from those rules, Yeah. Not to mention the fact that these two have fucking awesome chemistry together, and they should have done
really
more
well
shit.
together. I brought up Southland Tales earlier. They're both in that movie.
They're both in that.
Yeah.
But they're not. Are they? I haven't seen that. Are they in the same scenes or no?
I think they have like one scene together, if I'm being honest. But Sean William Scott's really fun to watch in that movie, all the same.
He always is. He always is.
Let's go.
Heads up.
Oh, dude, that's caca. When he does the caca, that's a callback from Road Trip. When he does the same thing in Road Trip.
Yeah,
it totally was.
Funny.
Like he's just like that's his thing. So he goes caca. This scene is amazing.
Yeah,
it's so well shot.
This is the scene where the monkey ejaculates on the Rock's chest.
Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What is he doing?
There he goes.
That's right. The monkey. What kind of monkey is that? Is it like a?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, it's a baboon, I think. Right?
I don't know.
They have those weird red butts or whatever.
Yeah, but so do I. But you wouldn't call me a baboon.
I love how this scene is shot. It's dynamic and there's lots of cool camera angles. There is throughout this entire movie. But
yeah. Something I appreciated was how it was edited. Man, the fight scenes are edited really well. Where this was like right around the time where like the shaky cam quick cutting thing started being used instead of like actual like fight choreography with proper editing and camera movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always think about the first film I really noticed that in back then was Resident Evil 2. The first one, which I enjoyed, is edited completely differently. I felt nauseous watching the second one. But the rundown doesn't fall into that. It's edited really, really well.
I don't think I saw Resident Evil 2. I saw the first one.
Another discussion, man. I've seen them all. I've seen them all. And 2's at least one of the more memorable ones. I'll say that.
Look at the monkey. Actually feels sorry for him right here. The monkey's like, what's going on?
No way. That
here?
monkey's like, oh no, did I get the Rock pregnant?
Oh, did I get it?
I want hunting parties. Find them. Find them.
I feel like a young boy who lost his first tooth.
We not want to fight you. We are not fighting.
Oh, dude, this fight scene is so much fun.
So I'd forgotten about this scene. And it made me think of like Judo Master versus Peacemaker in Peacemaker. But like,
yes, where it's like a huge guy versus a small guy. Yeah,
but
yeah.
If Peacemaker had to take on like 6 Judo Masters, it's a really great fight scene.
People. What? You could take them. They're little.
You could take them. They're little. Let me call them like pygmies. Look at that. Look at how cool that. Look at that. Because like The Rock was on some wire work there.
Oh yeah, the wire work's great in this movie.
Yeah, when he gets kicked in the air,
right here.
Boom! Oh, yeah, that's great. Both of these guys would be so fucking dead. But again, like it's cartoonish, which is great. It contrasts my movie, which is so much more like, you know, you can get a paper cut and it hurts, you know.
That's my heart.
There's when The Rock gets his guns. This is when I'm like, The Rock is going to be the new biggest action star ever, and he followed it up with like 5 Disney movies, and I was like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
he's blowing it. He's blowing it.
Hard.
I slaughter cows.
Oh, dude, that scene's great where he's running through and he just breaks that wall in half, like just punches through it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he also does the rock bottom in this. Remember, I gotta stop this because of copyright, but he does the rock bottom where if you're a wrestler, or if you're a wrestling fan, he does it in the opening scene. He does his signature wrestling move from the WWE.
The rundown.
You got the moves. I'll give you that.
That's a great shot where he jumps over the whip like that. I love that shot.
Got the moves.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah. There's like
There's
3
so
shots around, like just that action, and they slow it down even more. It looks great in the film.
There's so much great fun action in this movie, and that's why I love Peter Berg so much, because he never really did another movie exactly like this.
Yeah,
You know,
and again, like, you know, I might make a joke about a monkey having sex with Rock's chest or whatever for my beer, but like the truth is, like, yeah, he never did another one like this. I love this movie.
He does different shit. He doesn't like to do the same thing.
Yeah, and there's like, honestly, there's a good amount of like jungle adventure movies in the vein of this. It's one of the best ones made as far as it goes. You know what I mean?
It's up there with Romancing the Stone, Ben.
It is, but it's way more action packed. You know, I'd rather watch this than Romancing the Stone.
Well, yeah, that's
Plus,
pretty dated. That's pretty dated.
Romancing the Stone got a sequel that we never got a rundown to with Jonah Hill.
So, well, I didn't want the Jonah Hill, but with those 2 guys, I bet you it would have done well, because this movie didn't really do that great theatrically, but everybody knows what it is. And a lot of people consider it The Rock's best movie.
Yeah.
I think if you waited like 2005 to that, 2005, summer 2005 or something like that, it probably would have done well, because Stifler, I'm sorry, I always call him Stifler. He was still on the rise. He still had like more American Pie movies to do, and he hadn't even done like, you know, Role Models yet. He was still a big guy. I don't know what happened, but maybe they just didn't have a script that worked.
He still
It's
acts.
probably The Rock. The Rock is probably like, you know, The Rock says I need, you know, $20 million to do another one. Who knows? But here's okay, so we'll get into a little bit. Very old school trailer. There would be no rundown without this movie, Ben.
Yeah, but there also wouldn't be any Golden Child, so I don't know how you actually feel about that.
We ain't brothers and we ain't friends. I'm putting you down and keeping you down until Gans is locked up or dead. And if
He looks like he's jerking him off right there.
Is that not what's happening? I always thought that was happening in this.
No,
series.
he's got handcuffs. He's holding his cuffs, but look at it. He looks like he's got his fucking snake in his hand.
gets away, you're gonna be sorry you ever met me.
I'm already sorry.
Nick Nolte is a cop. Eddie Murphy is a con.
I can help you get Gans, but you got to get me out of here first.
You're crazy.
There's your setup, folks. Eddie Murphy is a con. Nick Nolte is a cop.
He pulls some strings.
See how you need me a little more than you thought, huh, Mr. K?
He pulls some scams.
So where do you want to do it, honey? Want to hop up on the counter?
Nah, we can go in this room over here next to the bathroom. That's serious.
Come on, we're on the move. Let's go.
This movie is so like Eddie Murphy, the dialogue that he wrote for his own scenes about like carnal knowledge, like Eddie Murphy's such a smart guy. He's not just like a comic who's like a dopey guy. Like he's so intelligent. And all the stuff that his character says in this movie came from him, not from Walter Hill and not from the screenwriters. It came from him. It's just so
nice.
yeah.
Got 2 killers to track down.
Toss me that piece, and he won't waste him.
Yeah, this movie is so violent,
Going
man.
down.
I want the money. I don't know what you're talking.
Dude, there's some legendary squibs in this movie too. Like legendary, like just pops of chests and legs. Couple headshots.
Snap her neck. They've got a fortune to hunt down.
I want to know what's going on between you and Gans.
$500,000.
And it's all coming down in 48 hours.
You gotta love these old 80s trailers.
But I gave you 48 hours to come up with something, and the clock's running.
This guy got a real itchy trigger finger and he's a nervous cop. You better listen to him. You get your brains blown out.
I'm the calm type.
Oh, and this song became like the anthem of both. Even though I hate the second movie, but it was still part of the second movie.
I'm looking for a good old boy by the name of Billy Bear.
Never heard of him.
Heard of him now, man?
This is such a hard movie to make a trailer for, Ben, because literally every other word is fuck.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many F words in this movie. I'm surprised they were able to salvage a trailer.
You know, you are real stupid for a cop, man. You're following this guy too close.
Yeah, well, most cops are pretty stupid, but since you landed in jail, what the hell does that make you?
So that scene is not in the movie. That's a trailer scene.
Oh really?
It's probably a deleted scene, but it's not in the movie. I've always liked that about this trailer. That's not in the movie. It makes sense in the trailer, you know?
What's happening, Luther? I'm sorry about the door, man. Did that hurt? It looked real painful.
You come clean and we're going again right here, right now.
I love how 80s trailers used to just drop the audio completely out of the thing and just play a song. Like, it's weird. The evolution of trailers is extraordinary. Someone ought to do a documentary about that.
You in some hurry or something?
Yes, I'm in a hurry. I haven't done anything for 3 years.
Oh, you used to be a priest or something.
This ain't my night.
That's not in the movie either.
If you screw up, I can promise you, you're going down.
You recognize him, right, Ben?
So it's really funny. I did not know that actor was their chief or whatever in this film.
Last Action Hero?
This close to doing Last Action Hero. And he's the chief in that film,
dude. He's playing the same guy in that movie that he is in this. You know, he's just everything's a screen.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, pretty much. He's like a caricature in Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah, but a character of this guy, yeah.
I promise you, you're going down.
You're going down.
They couldn't like each other less. They couldn't need each other more.
You want to bet?
And if they can get off each other's case,
Look at you. You got a $500 suit on. You're still a lowlife.
Yeah, but I look good.
they just might solve this one.
You've seen this movie, right, Ben?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
You've never seen 48
never
Hours?
seen it. I do normally
Ben?
watch your movie before we do an episode, but I just didn't have time this week.
This movie should be in film school. It's revolutionary. I just figured you had seen it in the past, but
no, yeah.
I know you're younger. I know you're a young pup. I get it.
Cop is a hard job, Jack.
Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy.
We ain't brothers, we ain't partners, and we ain't friends. Now, if Gans gets away with my money, you're
gonna be sorry you ever met me.
I'm already sorry.
48 Hours.
God. Yeah, if you, I guess I gave everything away, but man, it's a great one, Ben. Like you would really enjoy it. It's good.
Well,
but it's it's very hard edged. It like I said, it's like the script is basically a hard action movie, but it's the casting of Eddie Murphy that makes it a comedy as well. You know, without that, no one else is funny. No one else is funny at all. But
yeah, he kind of set the standard for, you know, action comedies back in the day.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, 3 years later, he did
like
Beverly Hills Cop.
What's that?
Yeah, 3 years later after this, he did Beverly Hills Cop, and then it was off to the races from there. He was so good in action comedy.
And I was joking earlier, but there's something to be said for The Golden Child.
I like The Golden
one
Child.
action comedy that didn't quite take off.
It's guilty pleasure, man.
I like it. Yeah.
Headcase, what did you think of The Golden
Well,
Child?
I just might lose my head.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. John, what'd you think?
Shoot him in the face!
We already did that. We can't change it now. Scotty, did you like that movie?
When I say I didn't like it, it's not that I didn't like it.
Well, anyway. Okay, well,
you heard it here first, folks. Scotty didn't like it.
I think Scotty, who would you have rather had in the movie rather than Eddie Murphy?
Gregory Hines?
That might have worked. That might have worked. You never know. Who knows?
Yeah.
What do you think about Lee Majors? Maybe that would have worked for the Nicholas.
I don't really care about Lee Majors.
Me neither. But who knows? Anyway, thank you, everybody. Ben, anything more to say about our films? Like, this is so unique for us. Like, typically we just be like, okay, we're gonna end it now and do our off thing, but now we're actually like done talking about our movies.
Well, we are done talking about our movies, so I think we should also say which of our beers we like the most.
Yeah, see, we forgot that last month. Yeah.
So I have a bit of a dark horse in the game here. They're all great. A little something, just great. Hey, man, just pick up a beer. You want to be a bit better than PBR? Pick up a little something. These are really good too. I got to tell you, I hated on it first. Watermelon Heat Wave.
Whoa, that
way ahead at the
you
end.
didn't even
there.
like that one when you first took.
The watermelon taste is there. It's a little lighter than I want, but the heat, man, it's good, dude. It almost feels like cheating because it's a cider, but it's our show, so I don't really care.
No.
So yeah, really highly in the end, recommend Blake's Hard Cider Watermelon Heat Wave. Go check that out, especially that it's practically summer.
Well, my favorite, Ben, I've already finished. That's the first time I've actually drank one to its completion during the show. And that was that sour with all the crazy shit. My second favorite, believe it or not, blows my mind, is the Imperial Stout with the graham cracker taste and the molasses. It was just, the other two are just kind of IPAs that I've had before. You know what I mean? So I'm going to fill up. I got to say, the brewery is just amazing. It's out of Brea in Southern California. It's an amazing brewery. I love them. And I never would have picked an Imperial Stout as my favorite for a Flights and Flicks episode, but it's just really good. It's enjoyable. And it's 10%.
Yeah, it sounds like a delicious way to get diabetes. That's for sure.
And diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
Well, Ben, thanks for reminding me we have to pick our favorite beers. We totally fucking forgot that last week because we were just like dog chewing those two movies. We just forgot about it.
It was, those movies were kind of rough. So
these movies are much better.
Yes.
And stay tuned, everybody. Next month, Flights and Flicks is a monthly show with the Bens here on Cinema Globe. We don't know what the topic's going to be yet. I like getting Ben's input first and foremost, and then we go from there and figure out what we're going to do. And hopefully you guys got a nice plethora of new beers to check out. We'll on Instagram and on the community page of or on YouTube, I'll put up pictures of the beers since we went live this month and we didn't have a chance to just post it on there. But Ben, anything else? Closing words, sir?
You can't always forgive The Rock for his mistakes, but you can think about better times. And that's,
I know what you're talking
that's
about.
What the rundown does. It makes me forget about the blackest of Adams.
Hey, Rock, if you don't want to talk about politics, just don't talk about politics. You don't need to put out a message that you don't want to talk about politics, because that's talking about politics.
The Rock thinks of politics like he does the first two rules of Fight Club. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. You say it out loud, but you really don't realize you're talking about it. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Go check out 48 Hours. Go check out the rundown if you haven't seen him. I'm Ben One.
I'm Ben, local man.
And we drink your cinema, everyone. Have a great night, everyone.